Okay, I'm recording. Okay, so we're all wondering about how to do this packet. I'm going to show you really quickly. Subject verb. So let's go. Let's go right into the 7th grade. Stream. Click on to classwork. I'm here as a student, so this is the same subject verb and the case with cases. The case part is going to be a little difficult, so here we are. Okay, so use this packet. Highlighted portions and instructions are instructions, and non-highlighted portions are classwork. Okay, in previous exercises, it was easy to make the subjects and verbs agree because the verbs followed their subjects closely. And the number meaning this word number here, meaning how if it's plural or singular. We've kind of gone over that in other packets. Not necessarily doesn't really work that way. So there's a little, but because you work, a second person singular, functions the same way as third person plural, or second person plural, which we don't really have in English. So you work, y'all work, they work. Only second person, only third person singular goes differently. He works. Okay. So anyway, what you do is you take the exercise. Remember the subject. So let's see, phrases between a subject and a verb. Sometimes a prepositional phrase. I'm going to highlight that because that's an important word. I'll change it to red. Boom. A prepositional phrase. That's a phrase that functions like a preposition. Okay? Comes between the subject and the sentence. Remember, the subject is not in the prepositional phrase. Therefore, cross out the prepositional phrase. You don't need that prepositional phrase. It is not the subject. The special effects in the movie. You see, this is a prepositional phrase. It's a phrase that's showing where the special effects are. I'm going to make it red because it's prepositional, and why not? Okay, we're particularly original. The lights in the stadium, saying where they are, okay? Or I could say the head of the class. So the girls from John Carroll are arriving late for class. I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So you see here we have these tools right here. So the heads of state arrive for the conference. Okay, so the heads of state. So I'm going to cross out of state, right? It's a prepositional phrase. It shows what they're heads of. They're figurative heads, obviously. They're not literal heads. And so I'm going to do Command Shift X and cross that out. But another way you can do that is if you go to Format, Text, and then it goes right here, cross, strike through. So Format, Text, and then you go across, down to strike through, okay? And if you have a PC, it'll show a slightly different command, but it'll be pretty much the same. The heads, and now I'm going to take the heads, right? I'll underline that. So I go right here, and I do command underline. I think it would be shift underline or something, control underline. But it's also right up here, you see, right up there. And then the heads of state, it's the third person plural, so boom, I'm going to make this verb bold. And you see the bold is there. I'll do Command B, but I'll just click it here. And if you go on Tools, Format, Text, it'll show you right here, and that's in the Google Doc. So it'll show you the little quick command. I'd say do the quick commands because it's annoying. I did a lot of it. It's annoying to keep clicking, but you know that's part of it. Repetito est mater studiorum. I'll explain what that means. I put it on the board a lot of times, so you probably know. I'll explain that later. Sometimes phrases other than prepositional ones follow the subject. Usually, they are set off by commas and are introduced by words and phrases including, with, in addition to, together with. Okay, so these are non-essential phrases, okay? If the coronavirus were in that sentence, they would not be in the phrase. So let's let me highlight this as a different color to make it a little nicer to see, including okay, the subject cannot be found in any of these phrases. Therefore, cross out any phrase set off by commas. Then locate the subject and agree to verb with the subject. Example, Mother, along with Aunt Sue, has left for Canada, okay? The successful candidate, including 2 of her aides, has entered the auditorium, okay? So these are set off. That's another way to say is an appositive phrase. The, for the remaining in the exercises in the packet, okay? Follow the instructions. Cross out phrases set off by commas and prepositional phrases. Okay, boom. Locate and underline the subject. Okay. And use the substitution method explained on page 2. Okay, that's in the other packet. You don't really... Make the correct verb bold. Okay? And so like we did in this. So basically it's Laura, we underline because it's the subject, together with Jesse, sings the alto part because it's Laura's the subject. The girls, so what are we going to do here? I'm going to underline. I'm going to say, well, the girls are the subject, right? So they get an underline. They're plural, along as well as Tom. But you know what, Tom? You're just tag along. You're not the girls. You're not the subject. You're just... okay, so I'm going to just cross out as well as Tom. We don't need him. Hum quietly. So the girls hum quietly. Yep, so hum will be it because the girls are third person plural. And they get... Yeah, my daughter's humming too because she wants to be like the big girls. Okay, hum quietly. She hums loudly. Okay, so we're going to do the rest of them. You know, y'all are going to do them on your own without me explaining every one. And now we got to the third page. So basically, it's so far, you got 20 questions that are super simple. 20, not necessarily questions, but exercises. And now the part C, well, B, I guess, is compound subjects. So compound is a tough word. I'm going to highlight it, but it's a good word to know. Some of you are having issues with identifying compound subjects in the last quiz I made. And basically, compound, if you have a compound, it's things combined. Well, I made that gesture. So, combine. So I'll just type in combine, combo, combination. A combination subject might even be better to think about it, because it's 2 things. Okay? So a compound subject, as you'll recall, consists of 2 or more connected subjects having the same verb. When 2 subjects are connected by and, even if they are both singular, then they are followed by a plural verb. Like if me and you go to the park, it's plural because it's 2 of us. Subjects joined by the conjunction and take a plural verb because they're plural. Me and you are 2 people. Even though I am this individual and you are an individual, we are now a plural. Hint, if the subject is plural, substitute the pronoun they for the subject. Now, that's something they get. So here, let me look at this. A dictionary and a 1-volume encyclopedia make a good beginning for reference library. Instead of saying that, I could just say they make a good beginning for a reference library. Yep. Mr. Duffy and his daughter have gone fishing. I could just say they have gone fishing. Okay, wonderful. An exception, a compound subject that refers to a single person or to 2 or more things is considered a unit, one thing, and takes a singular verb. Okay, so this is a little tricky. So spinach and rice is a popular food. Spanakorizo is popular. Okay, or I could say rice and beans. Peas and carrots is a good meal. So sometimes people could say plurally. I mean, peas and carrots are good. I could say separately, but I like to eat, if you say rice and beans is my favorite food, right? Spinach and rice is a popular food. If it's one thing combined, okay? Tea and crackers is something you like to taste. So it's a unit, okay? So let me see. A mother and a homemaker has a challenging job because that's one person. The mother and homemaker, let me just make it a different color just to make it even more shine. Bam. A mother and a homemaker, okay? A scholar and an athlete is how George is described by his classmates. So scholar and athlete, those are 2 words, but they're both describing George because he's got it all going for him. Okay? There's a compound subject. So this compound noun is singular. I'm going to change that actually. Compound subject. is singular since George is one person. Boom. Okay, you got to watch these videos. You get these little hints. Okay, so now let me see. And we got so these examples as we're repeating things. Okay, are New York and Chicago? Okay, New York and Chicago are the two largest cities in the United States. It's not like New York and Chicago are like, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan. They're not. I mean, those were both from Chicago, and people from New York did not like them. Sleet and snow are predicted. Okay, even though they're together, it's not like sleet and some snow are predicted. Okay, so what we do is we take sleet and some snow. Okay. If it was like the way, how could we combine it? If let's say I said I'm going to give you a sleet and snow sandwich, then that would be making it one thing. Okay, boom. Sleet and snow. The dogs in the pound and their owners. Well, these are both plural, so were, boom. And you just underline. So there we go, underline. And we're going to do, that's what we got. Rattlesnake, copperheads. Now, okay, now this is good. Now, rattlesnakes, coral snakes. I would, if I were writing this sentence, I would end cottonmouths are. Now, you could put that comma or not. That's called the Oxford comma. They put it in Oxford, so people just kind of assume you have to. But you can't. You can do it without it. And you know what? This is America, so I'm getting rid of it. And I'm not underlining it just because. You can do it all. You figure that out. And there's really not those compound subjects. This exception of like things like spinach and rice and beans, that's not so often, okay? And you know what? I'm going to change. No, I'm going to keep spinach and rice because it's a Greek school. But for most, if I were doing it for general public, I would put rice and beans. So I'm going to put it rice and beans because that's more rice and beans because that's okay. Repetito es mater studiar. Okay, questions connected by or and nor. I went over this in class before, and I think I went over in the last video. This is probably the trickiest one, but let's go. The subject agrees with the subject closer to it, okay? So, draw a straight line after or nor, ignoring the words before, okay? So here, that's kind of rhymes. Or nor, ignoring before. Oh, wow. It's, what is that? Alliteration. When it all sounds the same. That's called alliteration. Or, nor, before, or, gore, or, or. So, the chief geologists or their assistant is due to arrive tonight. So, you see, you would say assistant. You would go with assistant, even though or as assistant are, that might make sense. The chief geologist or their assistant are due. It sounds kind of okay. But no, the one that's closest. That's the rule, and that's the rule. Neither a rabbit nor raccoons do that kind of damage in a garden. Okay, they do a lot of damage though. So you go to one closer. So and then you make a little line. So what we're gonna do, I made an example here. Follow the basic instructions, and okay. So either alone or a scholarship is. So I did that right. It says a scholarship's closer there. A desk or a bookcase. So I'm going to just take this, and how to make a line, there's that thing right after the 0. You just hit that button. And then if you go down to past the M, it's the greater less than sign, and you just hit that, and boom, you got a little arrow.